Welcome 8th graders to today's Explainer. 3 inventions. That is literally all it took to completely transform the United States and honestly kickstart the modern world as we know it. Today, we're looking at how just a few sparks of brilliant innovation drastically sped up transportation, communication, and production. We're diving right into the exact historical moments when a young, growing nation forever changed the way it lived and worked, all through the incredible power of innovation. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this with a really interesting concept found in Ecclesiastes. It says that whatever your hand finds to do, you should do it with all your might. It's a fascinating lens provided by our source material for this era. It basically frames human creativity not just as, random busy work to pass the time, but as a dedicated, purposeful effort to solve massive societal roadblocks. The inventors we're studying today? Well, they applied this exact kind of intense, dedicated effort to their work. Now, to truly appreciate the brilliant solutions these inventors came up with, we really have to feel the friction of the problem first. Imagine life before these breakthroughs. If you wanted to move goods across the country, they basically crawled along at the speed of a horse-drawn wagon, or they drifted super slowly with a river current. And if you needed to send a vital message to someone in another state, forget about it. It could take weeks, sometimes even months to arrive by physical mail. Plus, agricultural production hit this hard, unbreakable ceiling because it was severely restricted by manual labor. Almost everything was done by hand, which meant the economy could only grow so fast. But here's how that all changed. We see this rapid-fire arc of problem-solving hit the scene right at the turn of the century. In 1793, we see the introduction of the cotton gin. Then just a little over a decade later in 1807, the steamboat arrives on the waters. And finally, jumping ahead to the 1830s and 40s, the telegraph is born. Guys, these weren't just neat little gadgets. These were massive, society-altering technologies. They literally functioned as the engine that began fueling the nation's economic growth, which allowed the United States to step up and actually compete in global markets.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive transportation revolution that took place. Before, river travel was basically a one-way street. It was limited almost entirely to downstream routes. You'd load your goods on a flatboat, float down the Mississippi or the Hudson, sell your stuff, and then, getting that boat back upstream against the rushing current was nearly impossible, or at least incredibly expensive. But with the invention of the steamboat, upstream travel suddenly opened up. This lowered shipping costs dramatically and opened entirely new markets. You could suddenly trade efficiently in both directions, making rivers the superhighways of the 19th century.
So, what was this invention exactly? And how did it actually work? Well, the steamboat we're focusing on is Robert Fulton's famous vessel, the Clermont, which made its historic voyage back in 1807. Interestingly enough, critics actually mocked it. They called it Fulton's folly before it even launched because they didn't think it would work. But by harnessing the incredible power of pressurized steam to turn a massive, heavy paddle wheel, Fulton literally engineered his way against nature's current. Because of this, heavy goods and everyday people could suddenly travel up and down the mighty rivers of America with newfound ease.
Now I want you to imagine that same frustrating limitation of river travel, but applied to information and news. We go from a world where messages take weeks to arrive, traveling physically over dangerous, bumpy land routes or by sea, to the sheer miracle of instant communication over long distances. Seriously, imagine being a business owner in Boston, waiting a whole month to find out if your shipment arrives safely in Charleston, versus knowing on the very same afternoon. That leap in speed, it fundamentally rewired society.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how Samuel Morse achieved this instant communication with the telegraph in the 1830s and 40s. Instead of relying on physical letters carried by humans or horses, Morse used electrical signals sent over a stretched wire. And here's a fun fact. The very first official message sent using this system was, "What hath God wrought?" By tapping out long and short bursts of electricity, a system we now know as Morse code, words could be spelled out miles away in seconds. This instantly revolutionized business logistics and news reporting. In the blink of an eye, the world suddenly got much, much smaller.
Our third major invention takes us away from the rivers and the telegraph wires and right back to the agricultural fields. In 1793, Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin. The massive problem at the time was that cleaning raw cotton, separating those sticky, stubborn seeds from the fluffy white fibers, was agonizing, finger-tearing manual work. To put that in perspective, it took a single person an entire day to clean just 1 pound of cotton. Whitney's machine used a really simple but brilliant system of hooks, wire screens, and brushes to pull the cotton through, cleaning it much, much faster than anyone could ever do by hand.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because innovation often carries unintended consequences.
we have to look closely at this step-by-step historical impact. Step 1. The cotton gin allowed for much faster cleaning. Step 2. Because it was suddenly so much faster to clean, plantation owners realized they could grow and process a whole lot more of it, leading to vastly increased production. But here is step 3, and it's a harsh, historical reality. This massive agricultural and economic boom created a fierce demand to expand enslaved labor in the South to actually plant and harvest all that new cotton in the fields. The technology solved a processing problem, but tragically expanded a human one.
So, what are the big takeaways here? Well, first, technology is a bit of a double-edged sword, right? Inventions often create both positive and negative effects. Second, faster transportation and communication brilliantly connect markets and communities, lifting up economies. But third, as we literally just saw with the cotton gin, economic growth can sometimes deepen pre-existing social problems. Our source material frames this from a biblical morality perspective. It suggests that while new tools bring incredible progress, their application absolutely must be guided by wisdom and responsibility to ensure they don't increase injustice or harm.
Which brings up a vital question for us today. How can people use creativity and technology in ways that honor God and help others? I really want you to think about this in the context of our modern world. We live in an era of incredibly rapid technological change, from smartphones to artificial intelligence. How are you going to approach the new tools and technologies in your own life? How will you ensure that your creativity and intelligence solve problems without inadvertently creating new injustices? It's a lot to think about.
All right. To make sure you've firmly locked in the historical facts of this explainer, it's time for a little homework. Take a moment to review these key questions from the source material. Make sure you can confidently map these inventors to their massive real-world impacts. Know who invented the steamboat? Understand exactly how the telegraph method functioned, identify the cotton gin inventor, explain the connection between the cotton gin and slavery, and grasp the key economic benefits of the steamboat. Being able to connect these dots is absolutely crucial for grasping the full picture of this era's rapid growth.
Now, as we wrap up our historical journey today, the source material ties this technological evolution back to Romans chapter 8. It offers a really fascinating perspective that faster boats, instant messages, and rapid production, well, they don't automatically bring a society peace. According to this framework, true peace comes from a grounded, spiritual perspective, which serves as an anchor amidst periods of massive societal upheaval and rapid change.
So, the crucial point is how this highlights the core philosophy of the HeroesMart Academy series, that education without a moral compass can actually cause harm. Intertwining morality with education is presented here as an essential piece for true, lasting progress. I mean, knowing how to engineer a steamboat or wire a telegraph, that's a wonderful world-changing achievement. But the framework argues that having the moral wisdom to use your knowledge responsibly is what actually protects and uplifts society.
It leaves us with one final, super important thought to ponder today. What is the point of being highly educated and technologically advanced if we lack the wisdom to make choices that heal rather than hurt? It's a question worth asking yourselves as you continue to learn and grow. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.